So guys, we have finally reached the second trimester and I am so happy to finally be out of the first. I just literally, it feels like a breath of fresh air. Obviously, you're never fully 100% safe from pregnancy. Anything can happen at any point, but they always just are more wary of the first trimester. And I am so blessed that we've finally reached number 2. So exciting. And I've already touched up on last week, and I think even from the week before, that I started already experiencing that glow up second trimester feel where I literally don't have any of the early pregnancy symptoms anymore. I'm not nauseous anymore. I don't feel tired anymore. I have a lot more energy, and even my frequent urination has gone. So really, other than seeing baby for myself, I don't actually feel pregnant, funny enough. So if you watched last week, you'll know that this week we had our 12-week NHS scan. So we already had a private scan for the same thing, but this was the first time that we went to the hospital, and it was so amazing to see baby again. Obviously now we're seeing him more developed. We actually saw him at one point sat up and we could see his little ribs and his spine, and it was just the cutest thing. He is so naughty, it's hilarious. They basically wanted him to be in like a lying down position, so they kept asking me to move. I had to do star jumps. I had to move from side to side. He was moving, that wasn't the problem. It's that he just kept moving in the different positions that they needed him. So I would basically get up, do star jumps, he'd be sat up. I'd get up, do star jumps, he'd basically be facing the camera rather than sort of facing upwards, because what they were trying to do was get the back of his neck. Thankfully, they eventually managed to get it, because obviously what they do with the Down syndrome is they check the fluid in the back of the neck, which is called the nuchal translucency. So it was a little bit of a tough one to get him to that, but eventually they got what they needed. It was just so nice to see him. I actually have a little picture of our scan, so you can see that he is really well developed. You can literally make out his eyes, his nostrils, his mouth. This is basically his hand. She said that he basically moved it in the picture, so she managed to catch it. But it's just so cute because you can just really see him taking shape now. He's becoming a little man. We can just see it all, and it's just the best feeling. So the private scan that we did, we actually got to hear his heartbeat, but the NHS scan, you don't hear his heartbeat. You hear that on the 20-week scan. So again, I'm really happy that we did the private scan because we did get to hear it so early on, but I'm still so happy that we did both scans. And thankfully, again, they did a blood test as well, and we got all the results through. And as the same one as the private clinic, everything looks all good. We're testing really low in chances for the syndromes. Baby's developing really well. They're happy with what they're seeing at this stage. Also, both scans, I don't think I mentioned it in the last video, but these are the scans that we go by the actual date of the pregnancy, because any scans beforehand, it's all estimations, and they usually go by your last menstrual period date, but now they're going by the estimated due date, which is actually the 31st of May 2024. So excited to now literally have a solid countdown. He is coming soon, and I just think it's gonna go so quick. To think already that I've been pregnant for 3 months, it's just mental. It is honestly just flown by. So trying to enjoy every moment of this journey, because I literally am starting to realize how quickly these things pass. So if you watched last week's video, I did touch up on getting restless legs. So what I basically noticed was any days that I didn't do as much exercise, maybe didn't take the dog for a walk and George did instead, that I would basically in the morning after a night's sleep, my legs would just become so restless and I'd just basically be needing to move them while I'm still trying to sleep, just because they became so uncomfortable. So after that, I made sure that every day I was doing some sort of movements, whether that was making sure I take the dog out for the walk, do my pregnancy workout, or just not sit down for too long, like just get up, get moving, you know, move my legs, stretch my legs throughout the day, because sometimes you can just so easily get stuck at your desk working, stuck on the sofa watching films, and you realize that you don't actually move, and then you go to bed and you're just basically still again. So I basically focused on making sure I was moving, and to be honest, I didn't actually experience the restless legs after that. So I guess that was literally just my body telling me that you needed to move. So yeah, just a note that just keep moving, keep your legs active, keep going, because if you experience it, it is only short term, thankfully. So also something really exciting this week is that I noticed a little bump making some appearance. So I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I noticed some bloating, but now what I'm starting to see is that just around my rib cage, that's not sort of come out, but just at the lower, you know, my lower tummy, you just notice a tiny little a little podge of some sort. So I'm thinking that's the bump. Maybe it's not baby, maybe it's just my uterus and everything inside expanding, but it's really nice to see, and it's so funny because it's really accentuated in certain clothes. So we basically got a wedding coming up, so I found this maternity dress. Obviously I don't necessarily need a maternity dress now when I've not got a big bump, but it's just something nice to have so that maybe I could re-wear it. It's really nice to see that I'm starting to see just something showing. Not enough that you would probably notice clearly that I'm pregnant. You'd probably still put it down to you're just a little bit bloated, but you know, I can start to see that there's something happening there, and it's just so nice to see, and I can't wait to see that grow. So that's pretty much been my week 13 and first week of my second trimester. I hope you enjoyed today's video and found good juice in it, and I'll see you next week. Take care, bye.